Hey everybody, a little more awake tonight than I was last night. Man, guys, I really enjoyed doing that stream last night, even though it was a short stream. But man, oh man, did I feel bad last night late. I don't know what it was. I'm feeling, quite a bit better tonight and more awake and stuff. Hey, Rooster. Hey, Blissful. Um, and overall feeling, hey, Texas, quite a bit better than I have been. So maybe I have succeeded, I hope, in kicking this nasty sinus infection that I seem to have carried with me for way too long. Um, so hopefully I'll be able to stay on here a little bit longer tonight than I did last night, depending on how many questions people want to ask or how long the conversation goes on, all of that. Um, Last night, I only had a couple of movies to talk about. And then, I thought I was getting better. And then I started feeling worse, in which case I got off of the stream at that point and just kind of, almost literally passed out on the couch there watching some TV and stuff. So, I'm still drinking my caffeine as usual. I gotta. Steve calls these my bottles, like my baby bottles. That he says I have to have the Mountain Dew with me at all times. Um, so I'm sure a lot of you, or all of you that are in here right now, probably saw what this particular stream was entitled. Um, Blitzel, you say you needed to just be. It's the best way to get to feeling better. I think you're right on that, Blissful. I think you're exactly right. Um, so, about this stream tonight, for those of you that saw, this is a subscriber appreciation and also an Ask Me Anything stream. So, I mean, if some of you guys want to come in on here live and talk about things, if you want to ask me stuff, it's kind of like the floor is yours pretty much. I mean, I will fill in the blanks so we don't have, long stretches where nobody's saying anything, but this is really dedicated to you guys. The people that have pushed me ever further, and I'm almost to 500 subscribers now. I know a lot of people do these things when they get to 1,000 subscribers or something like that. But I wanted to do something now because I wouldn't even be at this point if it wasn't for you guys. You guys have helped build up my channel. You've supported me. A lot of you that are here almost every stream, you guys are the cornerstone of what this channel is. And I'm not just saying that just to try to be um, falsely humble or anything. I truly am humbled by you guys and your outpouring of support from my channel. Even when I feel like I fall a little flat, you guys are still there. You're still watching and all of that. So, first of all, I want this to be an appreciation of you guys. And that's why I kind of want to turn the floor over to you guys mostly. But, like I said, I'll fill in and blab because I can, as I've said before, I have diarrhea of the mouth, so I could talk plenty to fill in any spaces. Um, I'm going to do a short daily grindhouse here in just a little bit. I don't know if we'll have as many as we did last night. I was shocked at the number of people that I had in here last night. I mean, again, this is not, and nor do I, have to have that many people. If I ever do, that will be groovy. But if I don't, that'll be groovy too, because the smaller the groups, the more I can interact with the people that are in here. But I was shocked at, the amount of people that were in here for the stream last night. Not that I'm expecting that number tonight. But, if we do, great. If we don't, great. Either way is fine with me. I am going to, as I usually do, go over some upcoming things that are coming up. Tomorrow night, of course. And I do realize that Dead Pit is doing worst zombie films tomorrow night, I believe. I hope they're not doing it tonight. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow night. I think the Dead Pit Boys and Garrett are doing that. But tomorrow night, TJ and I will be doing the final part of our Monsters episode discussion. We're on the third and final season, and we're going to be covering the last half of those episodes. I'm not sure what or if I'll have anything going on Thursday. Friday will be another drive-in movie night. This is going to be Joe Bob Appreciation Night, as a reminder. Friday, June 2nd, we'll all be watching the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the original Evil Dead. Again, Friday, June 9th will be The Devil Made Me Do It night. We'll be watching The Exorcist and The Omen. And then Friday, June 16th will be Cannibal Night, and we'll be watching Cannibal Ferox and Cannibal Holocaust. In my household, we will be watching the animal cruelty-free versions. Hey, TJ. As far as upcoming watch-alongs, as I said earlier, I do have the month of June all ready to go. As long as nothing changes. But June 3rd will be Killer Workout. June 4th is Death's Ball. June 10th, again, which is a few days after my birthday, will be Bloody Birthday. June 11th will be Nightmare on Elm Street 2. June 17th, in honor of the impending Father's Day holiday, will be The Stepfather, the original Stepfather starring Terry O'Quinn. June 18th is High Fidelity, the John Cusack joint. June 24th will be Just Before Dawn, and June 25th will be the hilarious Caddyshack. So we've got all of that coming up. We've got another full weekend ahead of us, or ahead of me, I guess. And oh, sorry guys, my nose has started itching all of a sudden. So again, we got all that coming up really, really soon. I hope you guys can all join me for that, for all the upcoming stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do the intro to the Daily Grindhouse, and then I'm going to talk about something real quick, and then we'll move on into the meat of this live stream. So here we go. Okay. Actually, I think that might be a hair or something that's itching. But anyway, probably just need to take the hat off for a second and see what it is that is rubbing against my nose and my eye. I have the stringiest hair ever, guys, and when I straighten it, it's even more just flies around and all of that. Hey, Crip Super, you say, wait, there are versions of Camel Ferox and Holocaust without the animal killing. I've only ever watched those movies once because of that. Now I know for sure that Cannibal Holocaust, I'm pretty sure, has the animal cruelty free version. Animal Ferox, I will look into. Actually, I probably could look into it for you guys right now. Crip Sweeper, I didn't mean to lie to you guys. What I meant by the Campbell Ferox version is that I would cover my eyes or do something to prevent myself from looking at it. But I'm just looking just to be on the safe side. Yeah, so Cannibal Ferox, we're probably going to have to make our own, cuts or whatever we want to do. But I am pretty daggone sure that Cannibal Holocaust does have an animal cruelty free version. Actually, I will pull it off myself. Let's see. Maybe it doesn't say on here, but I know one of these has got that version. But I'm pretty sure it's Cannibal Holocaust. Oh, shoot. There's stuff fell out all over the place. Soundtrack fell out. The versions I have are of course, the Grindhouse releasing versions. And I'm going to cover up the boobage there so we don't get pulled off of YouTube. But there's the Campbell Holocaust version. Here's Campbell Ferox. I have both of those on Blu-ray. Steve said he didn't think I needed to buy those things, but oh, TJ, that is cool. That is cool. I'm glad you let me know. It's totally cool. I may just take the evening off because, like I said, I think the Dead Pit Boys are doing something, them and Garrett. So I totally get it. I've had things come up too. So yeah, you go ahead and you take care of the family things. These streams are not, in the grand scheme of things, they're not that important, and we can always do it the next week. So that is cool. So guys, you heard it. You heard it right here. So TJ and I will not be doing the stream tomorrow night. I will probably be taking the night off unless I think of something that I can do that's real short, so I don't come close to overlapping the boys who are going to be doing their thing later. Oh, well, you're very welcome, TJ. Don't ever be afraid to tell me, hey, can we do this next week or whatever? Because I am completely flexible on that stuff. So, what I wanted to talk about in the Daily Grindhouse was I just got, and I know I'm a little late to the game on getting this. I'm sure a lot of you that like this movie already have it, but I just got the 4K of Screen Man. And I had watched, Steve has the steel book. I don't have the steel book. I just got the regular 4K version. Um, but I watched it with Steve, but it's been a little while. So now I've been watching mine. And I would just like to say the quality is very, very good on this one. I'm not meaning to sound like a lot of other people that have talked about some of these 4Ks being dark, because your first thing is probably like, adjust the settings on your television, Dana. But for the most part, for most 4Ks, my settings have been just right, but perhaps I do need to adjust them for this one. However, I have noticed that this 4K in particular is dark through most of it. I mean, it's not extremely dark. It's just daytime scenes seem a little darker to me than they should. Um, so perhaps I need to adjust something to account for this one. It's just odd that this one would do it, and Friday 13th and the Lost Boys and all the others that some other people said were dark, and all of that. When they adjusted their settings, that it was better. Um, but I'm certainly willing to try it. But I'm a little hesitant to do so because I don't want to mess up the settings for some of my other 4Ks that it seems to be fine for. Maybe I need to just write down what the settings are or something like that. Um, but Anyway, I would recommend it if you don't already have it and you're a fan of the Scream movies or you're a fan of the original Scream. It is worth buying, in my opinion. Now, if you haven't ever really been big on Scream, like you're not the hugest fan of Scream, then you might want to see if you could find a for free version before you think about plunking down that hard earned money on it. Because 4Ks do cost a little bit more than some other, even the Blu-rays. So, but it does look decent. It's definitely 4K quality. I just need to figure out why mine is maybe looking a little bit darker. Now, if some of the rest of you guys have seen the 4K and you don't think it's that dark, uh, be sure to say something to me, because it may be, that I do need to adjust my television settings for this particular film. So that's about all I got to talk about for the Daily Grindhouse. So now we can get into the meat of this stream, which, like I said earlier, is subscriber appreciation. And as a little side note, Ask Me Anything stream. So the floor is open to you guys. You guys are my subscribers. You guys are the ones that have kept me doing these videos, because if I didn't have anybody come to the streams, or I didn't have anybody that was subscribing on a pretty regular basis, then I would probably think, well, who the hell am I putting this content out for? So I really want to thank you guys for, pushing me to do my best, because I know people are watching, um, pushing me to be um, as professional as I possibly can be on here. I know sometimes I'm not quite as professional as I should be. But you can't hold me accountable. You keep me accountable when I'm doing these things, because I'm not just doing these things to an empty room. I mean, you guys are my subscribers. You guys are the ones that come to my live streams. You guys are the voice of this channel. So I want to hear, likes, dislikes about the streams, ways you think I could improve them, suggestions that I could do for other streams, um, you know, any of that. I want to hear the positives, the negatives, the in betweens, all of that. It will not hurt my feelings. Now, if you call me a bitch, it might hurt my feelings a little bit. But other than that, if you want to say, well, Dana, I think you could make them look more professional if you did this. I'm not saying it'll happen tomorrow, but I certainly will put it in the back, in my mind somewhere, and be able to recall it at a later time and think, oh, yeah, somebody did say, they wished I would do this, or perhaps if I did this, my videos would look more professional, you know. So I am open to all kinds of things. If you guys want to ask me anything, I know Blair comes in and asks me questions, even when I'm not doing an Ask Me Anything, which is totally fine with me. So if there's, any burning questions about me that you have been wanting to ask and hadn't, have at it. If there's a movie that you guys want me to do a mini review on, I will do it. So just, throw whatever at me and we'll see what sticks. Okay. Roosty say Stuntman Mark turned me on to the Lost Boys soundtrack. What soundtracks do you like, Dana? Um, I like a lot of different soundtracks, Rooster. Now, if you're talking about as far as horror soundtracks, I mean, The Lost Boys is a good one. But also for me, I even like, the instrumental stuff, the stuff that necessarily doesn't have what we would call popular music at the time. I even like things like what Carl Zitter did with Black Christmas, which is basically the piano making music or sounds. Um, and really, Carl Zitter was using he was manipulating the piano really to create a really creepy atmosphere, that a lot of times you don't even realize when you're watching the movie. But if you listen to the soundtrack without dialogue or anything else to distract you and just immerse yourself in that, it's a whole different experience. When me and the Dead Pit Boys were doing the prom night fan commentary recently, I have the prom night soundtrack. Steve got me that, and I absolutely love it. Whether you love disco or hate disco or you're in between on disco, I just think that that is a really good soundtrack. Let's see. Some more things that have a lot of instrumental stuff, like Don't Go in the House. That's another one that if you listen to just the musical tones and interludes and all of that without the dialogue or anything, it's amazing. Halloween is another one. John Carpenter is masterful. Um, I even like synth scores like The Burning. Some people don't like that. They don't care much for that, or feel like the time has come and gone for synth scores. Um, Gosh, if I really thought about it, I could probably think of a ton more. Yes, TJ, exactly. You are right. And I'm glad you brought that up. You said the Evil Dead score doesn't get much love. Some scenes have a classic orchestral sound to it. Lo Duca does great stuff. He certainly does. And a lot of stuff in the Evil Dead is again very subtle. It's so subtle, in fact, that you would not notice it unless you were listening to just the music without dialogue or anything else going on to distract you. But perfect example, TJ. I'm glad you brought that one up. Music is very healing, blissful. I totally agree with you on that. Um, I love I don't know how many of you guys have listened to it, but the Twin Peaks soundtrack. I have the vinyl of that. That is amazing. Another amazing, um, I mean, it's got, just music. It's got just instrumentals, but it also has a few, what I would call original songs on it as well. I'm going to call you Coco. I hope that's fine. So Coco, disco, funny. Prom night was on at 6 this morning, or maybe it was yesterday morning. My days just blend into one another. My days blend into one another too. I totally get that. Uh, so what channel was prom night on? I'm just curious. So Rooster, I probably, after I have time to think about it, I probably have a whole bunch more soundtracks. This one's not horror related, but The Big Chill. I really love that one. Forrest Gump has an amazing soundtrack because Forrest Gump covers so many decades, basically, that you have so much great music in that. Um, so many like movies that were not made during the time period that they represent, but that they take place in the 60s or the 50s or something like that. I really enjoy, or the 70s even. Um, oh gosh, I'm trying to. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot the title of that movie that I absolutely love. And I have this movie somewhere. I know. Hold on, guys. Guys, I will find it. Isn't that awful when you forget stuff? It's just, it's crazy. I guess I'm gonna have to look it up on IMDb. It just drives me absolutely bonkers when I just something just freaking slips out of my mind for no apparent reason. It's right on the tip of your tongue and then it just goes. Oh, come on. I know it was yeah, Now and Then. That's the movie I'm trying to think of that takes place in 1970. And Rosie O'Donnell, Melanie Griffith, Demi Moore, Rita Wilson's on it. And then the actresses that play the women when they were little girls. You got Christina Ricci, Thora Birch, Gabby Hoffman, and Ashley Ashton Moore. Um, that movie, it's a simple premise, but I think it's an amazing movie and I absolutely love it. And talk about a great soundtrack. That movie does have a great soundtrack. Seems to be pretty much a time capsule of 1970. Yes, I did, TJ. I did wear my hat on the prom night stream, and I've been trying to wear it as much as I can on my own because, Evil Dead Chick hat. It's part of who I am. Of course, for whatever reason, I've been having to take it off on my own streams for a little bit. Ah, Coco, you say I used the Pluto streaming service and was on one of the horror and terror channels. Ah, gotcha. Blissful, you say both amazing soundtracks. Blissful, you say I just found post-it notes I forgot I had. Hey, Dirk. My my favorite movie, like of all time, like no particular genre, I'm guessing, TJ. Man, because I have different favorite movies for different genres, but if you gonna pin me down and make me tell you my favorite over many genres, I'm the Evil Dead chick. I'm gonna have to say the Evil Dead, right, TJ? You knew I was gonna say that. You say Coco's fine. She was actually a beloved cat I had for 7 years. It's a mix of her name and my initials, Coco Ant. But you can call me whatever you like. I've been called many things. Well, as long as I'm not offending you, then I will call you Coco. I just don't want to offend anybody. Yes, Dirk, very good point. The Shining score is timeless and also an amazing score. TJ says, sure. Oh, man. Um, I think I'm going to step back here and put y'all keep those good questions coming. I'm going to put these Campbell movies back up since I don't really need them tonight. Yes, Scott, you are. I'm appreciating all of you guys. As I said earlier, the floor is pretty much open to you guys. I will talk in the blank spaces, or if you guys ask me any questions, I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Again, you can talk about things you like about my stream, things you don't like about the stream, gripes that you have, things that you wish that I would try that I haven't. I'm open to any and all suggestions. And, even if you come to the streams and haven't subscribed yet, I don't want you to feel like I don't appreciate you. I think I just am under the assumption that the ones of you that come in here on a regular basis have already subscribed, but that might not be the case, which is perfectly fine. I was just, it just hit me this afternoon when I occasionally go to my channel and see how many subscribers I've got. It's not like an everyday thing or anything, but I'm just curious to see how my channel is growing, and was surprised today to discover that there were 490 subscribers, and I was like, man, I'm getting close to 500. So yeah, Scott, very good point. It is free to subscribe, doesn't cost you a thing. Hit that button. um Dirk, you say, if you could meet anyone for an autograph, living or deceased, who would it be? I've always thought about this because I've always been, even though I was like 4 years old when this person died, or was killed, actually. And you probably know from that who I'm going to say. Um, but I so much wish that, not so much an autograph, I guess, although I probably would have gotten it, but just to meet the man. And that would have been John Lennon. I, whatever people may think of John Lennon in his personal life or music wise or anything, I thought the man was a genius. And I feel like, although he made mistakes in his life, one of the big ones being, cheating on his wife at the time with Yoko. And I'm not meaning to say anything bad about Yoko. Yoko has good qualities in her own right. But I said this about my own uncle, who cheated on his wife, who cheated on my Aunt Sandy. I said it. I still love my Uncle Scotty, but it doesn't make it right what he did. So, but the thing is, John Lennon was a famous person. So it's really none of my business what he was doing in his personal life. And that really doesn't affect what I thought of his music. And I thought he was an amazing songwriter. I thought he was an amazing musician. And I feel like down deep, the man had a good heart. Who doesn't make mistakes in their life? Are we going to hold it against them for the rest of their life? No, I didn't hold it against my uncle. I still love my uncle. Um, and I still appreciate the genius of John Lennon, even though he's been gone since 1980. And I didn't even know who the man was at the time that he was gigantic. I didn't know, I wasn't old enough to remember the Beatles. I got into the Beatles way, way after the fact. When I got into the Beatles was when the Beatles anthology was on. And back in the 90s. Anybody remember that? And then I realized what an amazing band they were. And then how each one of the guys in the band was amazing within themselves. And that I have a certain amount of respect for each one of them for certain reasons. And but John Lennon was one that I never, all I got to see was old footage of him. I never got to see. I mean, John was long gone by the time that the Beatles did the Beatles anthology thing. I mean, they talked about John, they showed old footage of John, but John was not able to be there with them. And wouldn't that have been incredible if he had been able to be? Because George Harrison's no longer with us now, but at least he was able to be on the Beatles anthology, and people got to see what George Harrison had become, as far as a musician and all of that. But yeah, I guess that's the long answer to what you asked, Dirk. But I hope that answered your question. Scott, you say Bela Lugosi would be who I'd want to meet to talk, get an autograph and a picture. Meeting Bela Lugosi Jr. was the closest I can come to it. But you should treasure that, Scott. Be proud of that. That at least you got to do that. Blissful, that's a good one. Jill Morrison, I was fascinated by Jill Morrison too. Jill Morrison was another one that died long before I would have even known who he was. But I've read poetry that he's done, and Jill Morrison was a unique person, and I don't think he was a bad person. I think he may have went down some dark paths in his time here on earth, but I don't feel like that he was a terrible, terrible person. Um, and he was like a really bright light that burns out too quickly. Um, is what I think about when I think about Jim Morrison. And with the Doors, that music that they created was just incredible. Coco, you say his passing was the first time experiencing the feeling of death. I was not quite 3, and I remember the feeling of sadness and my mom crying. I don't ever think that my mom, I mean, I think she might have felt some sort of sadness when Elvis died. Of course, that was what, 78 or so. Um, and my mom is still fascinated with Elvis. She went through a spell where she watched everything about him. But John Lennon, I don't think my mom felt quite the same way about John Lennon as like I think my Aunt Pam, who collected the Beatles trading cards and all that stuff was really big into the Beatles. I think she probably would have felt more of a loss than my mom would have in that respect. But that's what you say. They really were and made so many memories for millions of people. Oh, that's awesome, Scott. You say I'm going to see Ringo Starr in concert this Sunday. As I've said, that I have a real affinity for drummers in bands, and I always thought Ringo Starr was just so cute, like a little. I hate to say this, but like a little puppy dog. Um, and when he was younger, I mean, I totally could have fallen for a guy like that. And Ringo's had his problems along the way. He suffered from alcoholism there for a while, and I've heard him talk about it, and it's a really a hard thing for people to talk about, and I God bless him for being able to admit to his shortcomings and his addictions and all that. Well, that was an incredible album to put on, Coco. You say I never liked their music until I was 20 and put on the White Album. The White Album is, I can't even begin to describe the amount of musical genius that's in the White Album. And there might be some people that disagree with me on that, but I do think that's probably, if not the Beatles' greatest album, it's pretty far up there. Oh wow. TJ, you said favorite Lennon and or Beatles songs. Well, you got to have Imagine in there. Um, I like a lot of Lennon stuff, which it's sad to think of now, but that off the Double Fantasy album, that being his last album too, had some incredible, incredible music on it. And I believe he and Yoko shared a lot of the writing credits on there, and even her stuff that she did, I thought was amazing on that album. I felt like a lot of it was lower key than she would usually do. And it really wasn't, a lot of people have accused her of just screaming and squealing and stuff like that. I think that there was some real thought put behind the songs that she did on that album. I think that they both complemented each other very well. Um, I mean, you had things like Watching the Wheels, which you listen to that song, anybody that's an adult now, listen to that song and tell me that that doesn't resonate. Even if you're not a famous person, which none of us are here, right? It still resonates with, you know, kind of you being forced to be an adult. Everybody's forcing you to be an adult. And really what you want to do is you want everybody to leave you alone. You want to do your own thing. But people just keep pushing and pushing. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. Um, and it makes me want to play just a snippet of that song in case there's somebody out there that hasn't heard it. But I'm afraid it will get me. It'll get the stream froze if I try to play it. But man, just listen to that song sometime on your own, because that is just an amazing, amazing song. Um, I have so many favorite John Lennon songs, and a lot of favorite Beatles songs. We could probably almost have a whole stream just on that. I like the version of Stand By Me that he did. Um, the song Woman is another incredible song. And again, a lot of these were later, like right before the tragedy happened, just like Starting Over. Watching the Wheels, as I mentioned before, I absolutely love Watching the Wheels. Um, Mind Games, I like that one really well. Beautiful Boy that he wrote about his son Sean. Instant Karma, Give Peace a Chance. And some people might think, oh, geez, Dana, Give Peace a Chance. That's just so simplistic. But it has a lot of heart to it. I mean, yeah, I could go on and on about some of these. It's just Hold On. That's an early John Lennon one. That one's a good one too. In My Life that he did when he was with the Beatles. I mean, like I said, we could have a whole stream where I talk about, John Lennon and Beatles songs. Texas, you say, I'm not saying who I would have liked to meet because no one really knows who he was except for Blissful. Well, still feel free to share, Texas, if you want to. Darky said, love both Jim Morrison and Lugosi. Hey, Uncle Bill. I know you're going to say something like that, Uncle Bill. For me, it's Bruno Mattei, or as Wes says, Poopy Avati. Blissful, you say Texas, we all know you want to meet Kenny G. That's another really good one, TJ. You say I'd pick Wes Craven to have met. Blissful, you say, my mom loved John Lennon. She hand painted a denim jacket inspired by Lennon. Oh, that's awesome. I would love to see pictures of that. Coco, you say, my mom was and is very young, born in 62. Yeah, your mom is younger than my mom, actually, and I've been told that I have young parents. My mom and dad were both born in 1956, 3 days apart in October. Sky, you say you actually got to get Wes Craven's autograph at a convention in 2003. That's awesome, Scott. Yeah, I echo TJ. He says, that's cool, Scott. Lucky duck. Coco, you say, I couldn't believe that was the Beatles. Yeah, I agree with Blissful. Isn't it wonderful discovering new music? Coco, you say, yeah, I thought they were silly. I want to hold your hand. I have double fancy on vinyl. Double fancy, just incredible, incredible. I even have two versions on vinyl somewhere, guys. I do. Durkee said, my pick would be Jack Nicholson or Lon Chaney. Very good picks. I wouldn't mind meeting Jack Nicholson. Instant Karma, Blissful, yeah. TJ, you said there's Beatles Lennon snipers if you try to play their music here. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm playing it safe, guys, and letting you guys play it yourself. But I definitely, if you've never listened to watching the wheels, I would highly recommend it. Pretty much all of the music that's on Double Fancy, I would recommend. Imagine makes me cry too. There are actually several John Lennon songs that will make me cry. Um, I used to every year on the anniversary of John Lennon's death, I would put the Imagine album on and play Imagine. Um, I used to also just burn a candle in remembrance of John Lennon on that day. I don't usually do it now. I don't know why really, but I just haven't done it for a few years. But so you say I meditate to a lot of music. The first song I could do that with Across the Universe. Oh, that's a good one to just, meditate and kind of mellow out a little bit. Uncle Bill, you say, hey, Dana, or whoever else, who would you want to see an interview with? I'm trying to come up with ideas. Oh, man, that you guys haven't done. Mm-mm-mm. You know who I would really wish you guys could do an interview with? And it would probably never happen because I don't know how hard this person would be to get in touch with. But Stephen King would be, I know there've been a bunch of interviews with him, but I would love to see somebody do a more current interview with him. I mean, that would be my pick. It's just, I don't know how easy or how difficult it would be to get a hold of him. Blizzard, you say Coco, Julian Lennon sang Imagine with one of my favorite guitar players, Nuno Betancourt. It was hauntingly beautiful. And you want to hear somebody that sounds exactly like their parent when they sing? Julian sounds exactly like John. It's almost scary how much he sounds like his dad. Um, and also, to truth be told, he looks more like John than Sean looks like him. I mean, of course, Sean looks like Yoko too, but it's just, I mean, Julian could be John's twin as opposed to being his son. Sky, you say you should interview Boyd Holbrook. Blizzard, you say same Dana strawberry scented candles. I didn't necessarily, that would be a great idea to do the strawberry scented candles, but I never did do the scented ones. Ooh, Dirk, you bring up a good one. Mia Goth. Yep, Uncle Bill agrees too. Oh Lord, TJ Richard Rubenstein. Blissful, you say UB Slash is a huge horror movie fan. That would be interesting. Yeah, TJ, I know. Julian did get the raw end of the deal on a lot of things, and I'm, you know, I don't know what to say about that other than it was a raw deal. It was bad. Um, and I don't know what went on between them. I don't know what went on between Julian and Yoko. Um, and I don't think none of us ever will really know the 100% truth, but I don't mind you saying that. I'm not gonna, try to defend somebody because I don't know the whole story at all. I do feel bad for Julian. A lot of the stuff he had to go through, and probably is still going through. Um, but I feel like Julian has made his peace now with everything, and I think he has moved on from that and become more of a whole person. Um, but he has over the years made some fantastic music. That a lot of it probably rivals his dad's music, in my opinion. Dirk, you say, I tried again, UB, to get the guy who manages Kim Hinkle to try to get y'all an interview. He said Hinkle is funny. Maybe next year, he said. Oh, Lordy, Tony Moran. Blissful, you say, but Yoko sold his correspondence at an auction. Yeah, Yoko, I don't know. Yoko's did some odd things over the years, and I don't understand a lot of it, but yet I'm only an outsider looking in. I'm not privy to anything. Hey, 71. Yeah, Blissful, I agree. You said Julian officially changed his name to Julian. He's at peace now. His photography is above and beyond beautiful. Yeah, I would like to see some more of his photography, actually. Dirk says Damien Leone would be a good one, you be. So I think Uncle Bill's he'll leave now. He's got all these names. No, I'm kidding. Uh, TJ, I cannot recall if Uncle Bill is still in here. I figure he could probably let you know. Texas say, Dana, if you could have directed one of your favorite horror movies, who would your cast be and what would the movie be? Wow. You know, I'd probably have to go to back to Evil Dead again, but I just feel like that movie was so perfectly cast, even though it was low budget and everything. I couldn't think of who I would have used other than the people that were in it. Um, because I just feel like Sam Raimi brought together a core group of people that he knew. Um, I mean, some of them he knew really well, like Bruce Campbell, of course, Ellen Sandweiss, people like that. He grew up with these people. And, it's like going and making it was like for him, I'm sure it was almost like making Within the Woods again. It was him and his friends and a few others making this low budget horror film. So I would love to make something like Evil Dead or make the Evil Dead, but number one, I don't think I could have made it any better than Sam Raimi did, and I also couldn't imagine replacing or changing the dynamic that Sam Raimi put in place. And maybe that's just because I'm thinking about a movie that's already been made, and I just can't, I can't reconcile myself to changing something that I already feel like's perfect. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Um, I mean, Halloween would have been another one that I, wish that I could have said I directed. But again, who would I put in it other than the amazing people that were already in it? I know CK says that Jamie Lee Curtis didn't do a very good job in Halloween. And I know she was still green at that point in time and she was going to make mistakes, but yet I feel like too she had an innocence about her because she hadn't had all that acting experience that in my opinion seemed to work for the movie. These were supposed to be teenage girls and the character of Lori was supposed to be not sheltered, but she was supposed to be, a shy, reserved girl who wanted all the things that the other girls wanted. She just was unsure about how to go out and get them. I think that's why I was so turned off by Scout Taylor Compton playing Laurie in Rob Zombie's Halloween because they uh, took a character that I loved from the original Halloween and turned her into uh, an oversexed, uh, more modern girl instead of a late 70s, supposedly teenage girl. Again, that's my opinion. Um, those are two movies that I wish I could say my name was attached to, but yet I have a hard time answering the second half of that question, which is who would I put in these movies in these iconic roles now? And I really can't say because I couldn't imagine anybody else doing those roles other than the people that I already know did them. Okay, Bliss. We'll be here when you come back. Scott, you say CK tried to get an interview with Atkins, which leads to a story about Atkins giving him attitude. Oh yeah, that might be the story that I kept hearing about. Coco, you say, huh? Jamie Lee has always seen good in Halloween. She did to me too. CK just said, I mean, and he's entitled to his own opinion. He just said that he didn't think she was very good in that. Her acting chops weren't very good at that time. TJ, you say, I mean, Halloween didn't need Meryl Streep level acting. Come on. No, you make a good point, TJ. I think really what he was trying to say at the time is I think they were asking me, or he was asking me, what my favorite Jamie Lee Curtis movie was. And I, of course, said I had to go with Halloween. And that's when he brought up that he didn't think that was Jamie Lee Curtis's best movie, in his opinion. Um, okay. Texas, you say you didn't have to change the cast, but I thought it'd be interesting if there was someone that you might have wanted to cast or not. Um, for the three ladies, I wouldn't have wanted to change Bruce Campbell at all. But for the three ladies, there could have been quite a few women at the time that I could have picked from. Jamie Lee Curtis again being one of them. Could you imagine her playing one of the three girls? I honestly think she would have done a great job, but probably by that time she might have been sliding towards other projects and stuff like that, rather than just continuing to be in the horror films. Um, but I think of, other women that, like Leslie Donaldson, who was in films that, mainly Canadian films. But I couldn't imagine her being in a role as one of the girls at that time. I think she would have been old enough. Um, and trying to think of somebody else that, I mean, and even like people like PJ Souls, I could have seen her playing a role like that. I mean, there are several, that you could have picked from. Dougie said, "What about mix and match actors from your favorite horror films? Like put put different people in different horror movies?" Yeah, like I guess that's kind of like what I was doing just right there with replacing the three central girls in the Evil Dead with different people. What about Adrian King from Friday the 13th? We could have stuck her in Evil Dead as well. Um, Coco, you say, I'd like to put me in the OG Evil Dead. That Bruce is fire. Bruce Campbell is hot. Young Bruce Campbell was definitely hot. I agree. TJ, you said, well, in certain comparison to her other films, I can see the point. Scott, you said Curtis was much better in Halloween than Halloween 2. Yeah, she didn't have a lot to do in Halloween 2. So, even though I like Halloween 2 overall as a movie, I do agree with that statement. Uh, Yeah, TJ, you're right. Bruce was terrible in Evil Dead when you really pay attention. See, he had, but I said, and I'm not saying that CK was doing this at all, but I think sometimes we're a lot harder on the actresses than we are the actors, um, the females rather than the males in these situations. Um, I think people, I don't know, I think people pay more attention to the women or something. Um, but it might be a little bit different for me because I saw Evil Dead 2 first before I saw the Evil Dead. And there might be a whole different perspective with people that watched the Evil Dead first and then saw the others. But guys, I'm going to step away for just a second. I know we still got 11 people in here, but I'm going to step away for just a second and get me a refresher on my drink. Y'all keep these questions coming. There's been some really good ones. Actually, you know what? So y'all don't have to hear me monkeying around the kitchen. I'm gonna remove myself. Okay, let's see. TJ, you say Bruce Campbell should have acted more knocked out with those shells in Evil Dead. That is interesting, though, Dirk. We say it would have been interesting if Mia Farrow was Laurie in Halloween. I know it's hard to wrap your head around, but I think she would have nailed it. That is really interesting, though, Dirk. Seriously, I just had never thought about that. Coco, you say, I think I'll get a refreshment. Anybody else in here got a problem with Mellow Yellow? I got to take action soon. Got me by the balls if I had balls. Hmm. No, I definitely don't have a problem with Mellow Yellow. Dark, you say, Jamie Lee Curtis and David Gordon Green fucked us all with ends. What a piece of shit. Sorry. Well, no, I agree with you there. And I don't, this may be an unpopular thing to say for me to say because I still love Jamie Lee Curtis, but I'm like, what in the hell happened to her? It's like, why is all of a sudden she in the cult of David Gordon Green now? I mean, there's a horror movie they ought to make. The cult of David Gordon Green. It's like it's almost as if she doesn't even want to be associated with John Carpenter or even Deborah Hill, God rest Deborah Hill's soul. Um and all of that, but I just don't know what has happened. Ooh, that's hard. Favorite Tina Turner song. Yeah, Tina Turner did pass away recently, which is very sad. I always loved Tina Turner. And what strength that woman had. I mean, what's love got to do with it that was a great song. Um Sometimes I have to remind myself of the different songs that these people did. Proud Mary, when she sang Proud Mary, that was awesome. Like especially to see it live. The Acid Queen from Tommy. I mean, that's a great song. Probably what's love got to do with it is probably one of my ultimate favorites. Private Dancer's good too. We don't need another hero from Thunderdome. I mean, the best. Yeah, I mean, when you talk about somebody of the caliber of Tina Turner, though, yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite. Texas says Nutbush City Limits. Dirk says mellow yellow is the truth. TJ says can of worms, Dirk. Scott, you said one thing I never knew was that the Lost Boys sax player was Tina Turner's sax player in the 80s and 90s. That's cool. Yes, yes, TJ, I agree. Her cover of the Beatles' "Help" is amazing. Totally changes the OG frivolous fun nature. Texas says TJ, all her covers were brilliant. Scott, you say, Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't like horror movies and didn't know who Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton were. I kind of find that hard to believe that she didn't know who they were, but I don't know. I can look over some of that stuff. I don't care for Scout Taylor Compton. I'm not interested in anything that girl has to say. Now Danielle Harris, I have more respect for her, but I don't understand what those two were trying to do. I mean, whether Jamie Lee Curtis knows who they are or not, why make a big deal out of it? Just let it go. I mean, it's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Hey, Chris C. Yep, everybody's gonna start singing. Coco, you say that sax player was on the HBO concert she did in the 80s. I think it was still the 80s. Yeah, it's hard for us to remember now. It's kind of, things are starting to get a little fuzzy for me. No, sorry, Coco. I don't like Scout Taylor Compton. No way, shape, or form do I like that girl, woman, whatever you want to call her. I mean, this may sound pretty mean considering I'm not a famous person and I'm never going to be a famous person, but here's what I think about Scout Taylor Compton. You guys might think it's kind of harsh. I think she's a nobody that thinks she's a somebody. Um, and that's just what I think about her. If some of you guys like her, I'm sorry. But I never have liked that girl. X-ray said the sax player was the same roided up sax dude and lost voice. Uh, Coco, you say they're a lot fuzzy over here. Dirk, you say JLC was a total bitch to them, I heard. Well, I'm sorry. Again, this is probably not going to be a popular thing to say on here or anywhere, but they probably deserved it the way they approached her. Um, but again, I wasn't there. I don't know the whole story. Um, but to me, it seemed this side of a publicity stunt. Um, but again, I could be wrong. Chris C, you say, is Evil Dead 2 better than the first? Chris C, I guess it depends on how you look at it, because as a horror film, and I'm talking a straight ahead horror film, The Evil Dead would be the better of the two. But I have a certain, although I can't say it's better than the first, I have a certain amount of fondness for it because I saw it first. I saw that one before I did the original Evil Dead. X-ray, you say Scout Taylor Tom what's better than Jamie Lee? Who can forget her best line? I'm Baby Myers, Jesus Christ. Oh, X-ray, you got me laughing there. Um, Scott, you say I heard the podcast episode Harrison Scout did talking about the event. The problem was they were told by publicists that JLC knew who they were and loved them. Okay, so guys, I'm not trying to piss anybody off, but Scott, when you say podcast episode, are you referring to the podcast that Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor talk? Scott, can't even say her name. Scout Taylor Compton um, do together. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be mean, but if it's their podcast that they're doing, of course they're going to slant it their way. Anybody would do that. And I think the truth of the matter is that none of us, me included, know what really went on. I'm just saying, and I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis was in on the joke. I think it was a publicity thing that Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton came up with on their own. Let's just go up to Jamie Lee Curtis and see how she reacts when we just kind of ambush her. And then they got the reaction they did, and they tried to, twist everything around and stuff like that. And again, I'm not privy to all the inside stuff. I'm in the same boat as everybody else. And I used to have a lot more respect for Danielle Harris until she started hanging around with Scout Taylor up yours Compton, as I would like to refer to her. And all of a sudden, Danielle Harris is turned into a little, I hate to say a little foul mouthed bitch, just like Scout Taylor Compton, but it almost seems like she was, I remember several years back, Danielle Harris seemed really sweet and nice. I saw her at conventions and stuff like that. Then she gets mixed up like with people like Scout, and her whole personality changes. I don't like that. I don't like that when anybody does that. I don't like when regular people do that. I don't like when famous people do that. And that's just my perception. And guys, I'm not trying to get ugly. I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm just looking at it from my perception. My perception might be totally messed up and wrong. I'm just trying to, I'm trying to see it from your guys' point of view as well. I just know what my perception is, and it's hard to get out of that perception. Actually, you said Jamie Lee was just being based. Well, Scott, it sounds like, and that is perfectly fine. It sounds like to me that you're a big fan of Danielle Harrison, Scout Taylor Compton, which is totally cool. Um, I just, I think for me, I have to be objective and not really I'm not getting all caught up in the smokescreen of Jamie Lee Curtis, and I'm not getting all caught up in the smokescreen of Danielle Harris and Scout Taylor Compton. Um, I I I don't, I'm not taking up really for one or the other. I don't care how Jamie Lee Curtis treated them. And I don't think in the grand scheme of things those two girls really cared what Jamie if Jamie Lee Curtis acted like a bitch to them or not. It was just publicity. That's how everything goes. Um but if some of you guys believe that they were jazzed to meet her and there was nothing behind it other than they really wanted to meet her, then that's perfectly fine. I see it, from a different side. And again, I'm not taking up for Jamie Lee Curtis. I've seen Jamie Lee Curtis. I saw Jamie Lee Curtis be, I mean, honestly, I thought she was bitchy at that Horror Hound convention at certain times. But maybe I was perceiving it wrong because maybe that's just how Jamie Lee Curtis is. Because other people said she was nice as pie earlier in the day, talking to everybody and, taking her time with people. And, granted, it was late at night whenever I got to meet her. And the poor guy in front of me, like I've said before, dropped all of his posters all over the place. And Jamie Lee Curtis might have been half kidding or something, but she kind of yelled at this guy and told him to hurry up and basically pick his shit up. And I saw on the documentary that the night she came home where they were filming her. Some of the stuff she said to people during that was a little rough. And again, maybe that's just her personality. Um, so I honestly, I'm not taking up for anybody. Um, I just am trying to look at it from all possible points of view, from all sides. X-ray, you say Scott Taylor and Princess Highbrow forgot to present Jamie Lee with the box of Activia. They should have known better. Dirk, you say the Evil Dead is the best for you. Now, you talking about the original Evil Dead, Dirk, or you talking about that remake? Coco, you say she was good in the movie Sleepover. Scout, that is. I think that is a cute little movie. That line when the mom says, "Crank it," racks me up. Um, Now, I've never seen the movie Sleepover, and I might like it. And who knows, I might try it sometime. TJ, you said, did she say, "I don't know who you are," or did they say she said that? Oh, good point, TJ. And if they were talking on their podcast, unless somebody point blank, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, okay? Um, but that is a good point. If they were saying this stuff on their podcast, wouldn't it stand to reason that they're going to try to make themselves look good? I mean, who wouldn't if you're on your own podcast? So, TJ brings up a very, very good point. Um, oh, cracks you up. That works too, Coco. Uh, let's see. Scott, you say Harrison Scouts podcast. X-ray, you say, I'm sure Jamie Lee was a huge bitch, but come on, she is the most iconic part of the series next to Myers and Loomis. Uh, TJ, you bring up a good point. How's her show? I haven't heard it. I didn't really have an interest personally in hearing it because I think Steve had listened to some of it, and I've heard some other people say they talk about sex stuff too on there a lot. And you guys might be interested in that, but I'm not too interested in hearing two girls talk about things like blowjobs and stuff like that. It definitely doesn't interest me in that respect. Um, Scott, you say definitely listen to that episode. It totally paints the picture of what happened for the whole event. Actually, you say Compton and Harris are jobber actors, jabronis, to borrow a phrase from the Iron Sheik. Chris C says, LOL. Scott, you say, I just listened to that one episode they did. It was fun for what it was. Coco, you say, preach, Dana. You ain't pissing me off. I like when people have their own opinions. Well, and I'm sure Scott doesn't mind that I have my own opinion as well. But sometimes I get a little forceful and a little loud. And I don't want anybody to feel like, well, Dana's being a bitch about this, because I don't want anybody to ever feel that way. And I don't want anybody to be afraid to bring up stuff in here. Just because I, you know, give my own opinion doesn't mean that you shouldn't give yours. Scott, you say, I'm not a big fan of them. They're fine. Just saying how it was. Yeah, that's cool, Scott. It's cool. Dark. You say Harris was sweet and getting naked. Oh my goodness. I think the stream is starting to derail. No, I'm kidding. TJ, you say, thanks, Scott. I might just listen to that one. I I think she made some kind of odd video, maybe in connection with Tony Moran, but I can't really remember at this point. You say, didn't Danielle Harris make a video defending Tony Moran and lets him sleep on her couch? Dirk says, sounds right, X-Ray. Chris C, you say, let's not forget, she was in one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies, The Last Boy Scout. Coco, you say, I love Halloween 5. You know how much shit I've gotten for that? I don't mind. I'll take that love to the grave or earn. That's okay. I honestly, I don't mind Halloween 5, but a lot of people don't like that movie. And, I like Halloween 5 a lot more than I do Halloween 6. And that would probably surprise the hell out of a lot of people. Scott, you say, Danielle tried to give Tony a chance to defend himself, but it didn't go over well. She did invite him to come over and watch Zombies Halloween. So Garrett is a big fan of Danielle and Scout. Well, to each his own. I like Garrett. TJ says, still going to watch movies JLC is in if I'm interested, unless she off someone. I don't care if she's a bitch. LOL. Right on, TJ. Darky said, I listened to one of their shows about women getting paid from farting in jars. Seriously? Darky said, the OG Evil Dead, Dana. You know, Evil Dead, I have ranked third. Oh, man. TJ said, what's better, Return of the Living Dead, Rave to the Grave, or Necropolis? Can I say neither, TJ? Is that acceptable? Coco, you say, dear Lord, I got to make a taco and get my dog. It's damn magical outside. So many fireflies or farflies in my neck of the woods. Exactly, TJ. Good point. Halloween 5 killed Rachel. Those bastards. LOL. So that's okay if I say neither? Okay. Chrissy, you say, we all see that film vault edition of Jaws they're releasing. LOL. Ugh, might have to get that one. Oh, damn, Chrissy. They're releasing that. Oh, man. Dana might be getting another copy of Jaws. Darky say, I hate Halloween 5 Greg Nicotero mask and the fucking clown music cops, and Tina's a selfish bitch. But other than that, Halloween 5 is great. I don't know. Tina gets a lot of hate. Um, and a lot of people just point blank don't like her at all. They say she's super annoying and stuff. I always liked the Tina character. I mean, I guess she could be somewhat selfish, thinking about herself at certain points in times, but I didn't think she was an all out, terrible character. The clown music cops, yeah, maybe could have done without that. And the mask wasn't that great. I'll agree with you, Dirk. But yeah, other than that, I still like it. Scott, you love Tina? Cool. I don't hear too many people that say that. Most people say that she's like nails on a chalkboard or something. Pretty much, TJ, you're right. Tina sacrifices herself for Jamie, though. All right, we got some Tina fans in here. Look at this. Coco says, "Thank you. Tina was bomb. Shout out to Tina from H5." And you know, did anybody know the story about her and Greg Nicotero that they kind of had a fling too? So I mean, didn't any of you guys think she was a little bit sexy, or did most people just think she was super annoying? Dirk, you didn't even think Tina was a little hot. You just thought she was a bitch, a selfish bitch, I should say. Um, so, Chris C, when is that? Do you know when the Film Vault edition of Jaws is coming out? Because I really want to get my hands on that. I'm surprised Steve didn't tell me something about it. Scott says Tina was sexy to him, so there you go. Coco, you say, I think she faked her death and they should bring her back in a new movie. She radiates sex. Come on. Yeah, I could definitely see that she could have faked her death to keep maybe Michael Myers from really killing her, because she just didn't seem dead, like dead in that movie. Yeah, Dirk, you say my favorite mask is Halloween 2, Warlock Stretch, and Deborah Hill's cigarette smoke stains. Love that shit. Yeah, I mean, even though I love, 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 love Halloween, the original Halloween, and that mask is iconic in so many ways, that Halloween 2 mask is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Texas, you say, I think I saw H5 once. I don't remember it. Texas doesn't remember enough about it to get in on the whole debate about Tina and all that. What about the boy that stutters in it, Billy? Um, what did anybody think of him? I'm pretty sure CK's not a fan of him either, and some other people aren't as well. We've had a good. I think this has been a great discussion. I think I should open it up, like open these discussions up more often. Texas, you say, is he as bad as Bob? I don't think so, but honestly, I don't think Bob's that bad. Chris C, you say, I love Happy Birthday to Me. It has to be the shish kebab one. Hey, I did a watch along, Chris C, for Happy Birthday to Me recently. If you want to go back and watch it on the replay, if you haven't already. Durkee say Tina was okay, but Jamie was all fucked up and Rachel was dead and she wants Tina, but she's like, I'm horny kid, gotta go. Basically, yeah. TJ, you say nobody is as bad as Bob, in my opinion. LOL. Guys, honestly, I would love to go on all night with this, but it's gonna be early morning for me tomorrow, a lot earlier than I ever realized it's going to be, and probably going to be an early morning for a lot of you guys that are in here tonight. So I'll probably keep going till around 10 o'clock, and then get off of here, because I got oodles of stuff. I got people scheduled all morning to do things for them. So gonna have to have my brain fresh and all that. But I will stay on till about 10. Coco, you say, Dana, any really low budget movie you just love? Like, I found a movie called Salvage on one of those crappy multi movie discs, and man, that movie is a gem. The Stuttering Kid. Um, Coco, I don't know if you have ever heard the big debate between me and the Dead Pit Boys about Terror on Tour, but I'm a nut when it comes to really. I seem to attach myself to movies that a lot of people. I'm not just talking about two or three people. I'm talking about a lot of people think are really shitty movies, and Terror on Tour is one of them. And I've debated with the Dead Pit Boys years over this movie, and they're not the only ones that say it's a bad movie. Um, I don't I could be wrong, but I don't think I have found anybody that likes that movie like I do. No one. And if there's somebody in here tonight that likes it okay and wants and is brave and wants to raise their hand and say, "Hey, I don't it's not too bad a movie," then groovy. But I just never hear anybody, you know, say say anything about this movie unless it's in a negative tone. Um, Another movie that some more people have said that they like this one, but again, this is one that me and the Dead Pit Boys have debated on back and forth over the years, and that's Final Exam. Final Exam is one that I got on 4K recently, and Steve was like, "Oh, good Lord, why? Why would you get that?" And then the funny story about that one is he was going to buy it for me. And what he told me to do originally was to buy the movie and then he would send me the money. Well, he forgot that he said that and he bought a copy. He said, "Hey, Dana, I bought you that copy of Final Exam." And I said, "Steve, remember when you told me to go ahead and buy it and you would pay me back?" He's like, "Oh, shit." So he's got a copy on his desk behind me that he hasn't even opened yet. I don't know if he's going to try to sell it or not. But those are two big ones I always think about when people ask me that question or a similar ask it in a similar way. Um, yeah, I am always looking for a diamond in the rough kind of. I'm that kind of person, and I'm not saying that I have found that, but I do, find these low budget, what a lot of people think are pieces of shit. And I kind of will pull them out of the shit and clean them off a little bit and then get some sort of enjoyment out of them. Um, I even, back when I was doing my fanzine, I interviewed the guy that played their manager on Terror on Tour, the guy that ended up being the soup Nazi, um, or as they had to change it, I think the soup Nazi. They had to change it at one time. But anyway, um, I interviewed him for my fanzine, and he was astounded at how much I liked the movie and appreciative too. And also, I did kind of like a uh, defending certain movies that a lot of people hate, and I defended Terror on Tour years ago when I had my old channel, and the a guy that said he was the drummer for the band in that movie was talking about he just could not believe how much I liked it, but again, he was very appreciative. So Coco said the kid didn't leave an impression. The stuttering kid from H5. What movie again? If you're asking me what movie, I was mentioning Terror on Tour and Final Exam. Dargy say Dana had a blast at Texas Frightmare Weekend, met Ramey and Carpenter, but Barbara still was hitting on me. That's what Steve was telling me, Dirk. That's great. Though you got that story to carry with you forever. At first I thought she wasn't, but she kept telling me I look good. She's 86, by the way. You know what? You probably have had the best experience with Barbara Steele ever. Um, or maybe she was just in a better mood at this convention because she looked like she was extremely pissed off the whole time at Horrorhound, I believe, several years ago when Steve went up and met her. She didn't take her sunglasses off the whole damn time she was there. I kid you not. Yes, TJ, I have seen that. Yes, it is very creepy for early 80s primetime TV. The TV movie Don't Go to Sleep with Valerie Harper and Ruth Gordon. Yeah, that is a movie I remember watching when I was a kid, and that was a movie that stuck with me until adulthood. It's not quite as scary as it was when I was a kid, but it still is very, very well made and very scary for television. Um, don't ask Steve about it because he'll have a totally different opinion than me. I don't think he cared for it, but I'm glad you brought that movie up, though. You will never look at a pizza cutter the same way again after you watch that movie. That's all I'm saying. Turkey say, yeah, definitely the highlight for me. I keep cracking up thinking about it. So, hey, Dirk, was your wife around when she was hitting on you? I just wondered what your wife thought about that. I'm sure she wasn't jealous of an 86-year-old woman, but I just wonder if she found it amusing. TJ says, Mr. Dirk Steele. Coco, you say never saw Final Exam. I'll have to find it. Yeah, I would recommend, trying to find a for free version like on YouTube or Tubi or something like that first before you shell out any money. Because, I mean, you might absolutely hate it. But I, on the other hand, really enjoy it. Texas, you were talking about Don't Go to Sleep. I think at one time it was on YouTube. Scott, you say Don't Go to Sleep is good. I remember watching it back when it aired. TJ says it's still on YouTube. Coco, you say, oh, okay, Terror on Tour on my list. I'll get on off here since it's closing time. Maybe we can discuss the Barbie movie that's coming out in July. Scott, you say, I've seen that photo of Steve with Barbara Steele. She didn't look happy. And Scott, I kid you not, that's how she looked the entire convention. So I was totally shocked when Dirk was talking about his experience with her. Well, you can, Coco, have at it. You can talk about the Barbie movie. So Dargy say Tasha didn't go with you, but she thinks it's hilarious. I bet. Oh man. Mm. Dargy say, have y'all seen Don't Fuck in the Woods 1 and 2? I don't think I have, Dirk, but I was thinking Steve maybe saw one or both of them, but I could be wrong on that. TJ, you say, I'm annoyed at my age. If I make it to 86, don't come near me. Yeah, I know. I get annoyed at almost 47 years old. So imagine if I make it to 86. So, Coco, definitely, if you want to talk about the Barbie movie that's coming out, I got 2 more minutes on here. You can feel free to bust that one out and talk about it. I'm sure I probably wouldn't have much to say about it, but that's okay. You can talk about it. Coco, you say I put that face to look serious, but poking fun at myself. I'm a big Barbie fan. The way that came off seemed creepy. No, it doesn't seem creepy. Um, I mean, I used to, I had my fair share of Barbies when I was a girl. So, um, and there's people that, even now into adulthood, they collect Barbies. So, yeah, that's fun. So it's supposed to come out in July. I wasn't sure when it was coming out. I want Steve to take me to see the Boogeyman, this based on the Stephen King story, um, next month. Um, I told him, I said, you can take me out to eat and take me to that movie, and that'll be my birthday present. And see, you won't have to think about it anymore. So we'll see. Does it, DJ? You said the trailer says if you hate Barbie, you'll still love the movie. Oh man. Hey, Darren. Oh, dang. And I'm getting ready to get off of here, Darren. Did you have anything that, because I was kind of opening up to people just asking questions or giving me suggestions for things and stuff like that. If you want to, I can stay on here 1 or 2 minutes more and you could bring something up if you want to. Because I kind of hate to cut out of here when people come in a little bit later. Or if anybody else wants to ask me something in these last couple of minutes. Yeah, TJ, if I could get him to do it, I can't get him to do much of anything. Dead Pit Like on the Road, Boogeyman Review with Dana and Steve. Yeah, I'd be all for that. And Coco, you say, I saw the previews for that and I was wondering if it was a remake of the Boogeyman from 1980. I think 1980. I love that damn movie. I do too. I'm actually going to get the 4K of it here probably when I get paid again. I'll get paid on Friday. And I'm getting a copy of Four Flies from my good buddy Dirk. So, hey, Dirk, if you're still in here, if you want me to send the money through PayPal for that Four Flies, if you can just send me your email through Messenger, or if you want me to pay a different way, just let me know. Whatever works for you. But no, I don't think this one is a remake of that. I think this one, I'm pretty sure this is based on the Stephen King story. I believe the story was from the Night Shift, his Night Shift collection. And there was an old video years and years ago. I don't even know if you can find it now. You might be able to find it on eBay or something. That I found at a Kmart, I believe. This was when I was a kid. That Stephen King used to, and he may still do it. He used to have these stories he called dollar babies that he would sell to like film students or something for $1, and they would make movies uh, or shorts from them. And so there was a set of I don't know how many VHS tapes that was the Night Shift collection. And the one I got had the Boogeyman and the Woman in the Room. And both of those stories, the filmmakers that did those did a really good job. But this movie is supposed to be based on the Stephen King story and not I know the exact movie you're talking about from 1980. Darren, you said that's fine. No, I knew it's late. You say nice. I'm glad you got four flies off of Dirk. Yeah, I'm glad he still had a copy left. Dirk says, sure, Dana. TJ, you say not a remake. I thought that too. Yeah, that's a good idea, Darren. I don't know if I should say it. Maybe one of you guys could say it, you or Dirk, because I don't know. I've been getting looks from Steve at some of the stuff I picked lately, like the Changeling. I don't think he wanted to do the Changeling, but I really wanted to do it, and I knew that you would enjoy it. Um, and if Dirk had been able to do it with us, um, I would have thought, I think he would have enjoyed it too. It is really late for Darren. Sky, you say, yeah, the Stephen King dollar thing should still be going on. Anyone can do it, although the options for it go quick. And there's a limit what you can do with the short. Ah, TJ's got the yawning emoji. Coco, you say this was fun. Everybody have a good rest of the week. Check out them fireflies, y'all. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Coco, and I hope you come back to one of my other live streams. I'm always, I love to see the core group, but I also love to see new faces in here as well. Dark, you love the changeling. Chris C, you say it's a crazy great Jallo, but out of the animal trilogy, it's Bird with the Crystal Plumage for me. I like it the best. I think a lot of people like that one, Chris C. Well, you'll be welcome back anytime, Coco. All right, guys, it has been awesome tonight. We've had about 14, 15 people in here almost the whole time. So that's a huge group for me. And again, I want to say how much I appreciate all of you guys. Um, Even if you don't come to every live stream I do, even if you do come to every live stream and you aren't subscribed, you are still supporting my channel. You're still supporting me. And you're making me feel like it's worthwhile what I'm doing, that I'm at least entertaining somebody. Um, but on that note, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night, and I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now.